Hello and welcome to Coffee with Carey. Appreciate you stopping by today to discuss the 5 must-haves in a relationship. I'm assuming you are hoping to have a relationship, embarking on a relationship, or perhaps just trying to improve the one you find yourself in currently. I hope these tips will be helpful. As I said, 5 of them. If you're new here, I'm Carey. I'm a matchmaker and a dating coach. And I'm not going to ask you to subscribe now because you don't know if you are new, whether or not you enjoy this episode, ever want to hear from me again. So I will remind you at the end, if you have been here before, encourage you to do that. And also remind you to please follow me on Instagram. It's a great reminder of what episodes are just launching and also some fun stuff thrown in the middle. If you've never checked out my Instagram, it's Coffee with Carey G, my last name. All right, let's get this going here. 5 relationship thingies. That's what's on the agenda. Stick around. That's what's coming up right now. Why waste time? Let's just get to number 1, which is probably going to sound familiar to many of you who have ever been in any type of a relationship, and that is going to be communication. Communication is key, as they say, and it is in all relationships, but especially in a romantic relationship. I would venture to guess that most people who find themselves in couples therapy, their biggest problem is communicating. Other problems surrounding that, sure, but the breakdown in communication or never being able to communicate honestly, openly, and in a way that they're being heard is probably key. So if you can make sure early on that your communication styles can mesh, can gel, that you can in the beginning at least express to this person that you want communication to be an important aspect for both of you, I think that's going to be important, and you will know very shortly. Most of you feel like you know on a first date whether your communication styles are in sync, but being able to accurately share what you want, what you need, setting boundaries, needs, wants, your desires, being able to communicate what this person needs to be able to give you, these are all very, very important. Communication is number 1. Number 2, on the flip side of the communicating outwardly, would be the taking it all in the other direction, and that would be being a good listener. If you're not hearing your partner, you're not actively listening, you know that little thing that the therapists have you do to repeat back when it's your turn to speak what you heard. That's a great tool for people who are struggling to actually make that connection of not only saying what you need, but knowing that what you said was heard. So truly trying to be a good listener, I'm working on trying to become a better listener. So I say trying to. You may be a great listener already, and good for you. It is a skill, and if you're not a great listener, then you can definitely improve on all of these things that are required to have a great relationship. I think that should be noted here as very important, that where you're at right now does not have to be where this relationship is stuck. There's always a way to move out of it, and working on any of these 5 things would be beneficial to long-term happiness in a relationship. Number 3, because there's always going to be something that comes up where you don't agree, you aren't communicating well, you have a misunderstanding, and in those situations, it's really, really important that you not only communicate effectively, but to communicate when there is strife in the relationship is really important. Knowing how to fight fairly and in a way that you're not going to hurt or injure emotionally the person you're with. Being a good, fair and square fighter and being able to communicate at those times is imperative. Wow, my vocabulary is just snapping along today. You're always going to find yourself with disagreements because you are 2 separate, unique individuals. You are never going to think alike on all matters. And when that happens, being able to communicate while still being kind and still being able to be a good listener, still being able to use those other tools will really go a long way in making sure that arguments or disagreements or misunderstandings don't get blown out of proportion and become those things that get brought up over and over again throughout the years because they were never really reconciled when they were taking place. So that would be number 3, knowing how to work through disagreements. Number 4, the other must-have in a relationship would be some type of affection or intimacy or both. There's a few different ways to break this down with intimacy and affection, and it's going to be different for every couple. There are couples who are not having a physical relationship, but holding hands is enough for them. There are people where the physical connection is the strongest connection that they have in their relationship, but having some type of a connection that is physical is very, very important. Also, having an intimate conversation where this person is your confidant and being able to communicate in a way that is intimate is also important. So I'm not just speaking about physical, while that's very important. I think most therapists would agree, and I am in no way a therapist, would agree that some type of intimacy is imperative for a successful relationship. And I think it's up to you and your partner to determine what that is. Affection is very important so that somebody feel, especially for people whose love language is touch, physical touch. And you should know your partner's love language. That's part of being intimate with somebody, is to know what are the things that make them feel loved. Do they need to be receiving to feel that you care for them? So important conversation to have when you're communicating, and be a good listener and hear what they say. So love languages, I have an episode on that. I'll link to it for you right here. Affection, intimacy, very important, and that's why that's number 4. And I'm really paring this list down because we probably could have 10 of these, but I think these are probably the most important, and that's why I've made this list of 5. We can do a 10 at some point, or a second 5 if you're inclined to see that episode or to have me make that. Leave a comment down below. But number 5 would be trust. I don't think any relationship can survive when there is no trust. And I'm not saying that this is a situation where trust has not been challenged, where it has not been tested. There are some relationships that are very successful where trust was an issue early on or somewhere along the journey of a relationship. But working to get it back is a step in the right direction, because you must have it in order for this to be successful. Trust is not a one-way street, I will remind you. It is not just somebody's trustworthy, so I trust them. It is a give and take, and it does rely upon the person who is less likely to be trusting to have faith and to have confidence and to be able to deal in their own way with their own securities or anything in their personality that would jeopardize this relationship having trust. That's really all I've got for you today. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please give the episode, as Mom is suggesting down there, that's my mama, thumbs up. And now I will ask you, if you did find it interesting or you learned a little something, if you would subscribe to my channel, that would be fantastic. Then we can hang out again sometime soon, and ring that bell. You'll be notified when that opportunity arises. Appreciate you being here today, and until next time, have a good one.